Many creative people can have issues. For example, writers can get writer's block. Someone who loves to garden can suddenly come down with a brown thumb. And card makers can suffer from sketch fear. If this is you, or you want to know in case it happens, keep watching. Hi, I'm Linda Bartolucci, and I'm a math-minded card maker. That means that I love making cards. I'm fairly good at it, but I do need a little help to get started. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about starting with a sketch and where we can go from there. I have a bunch of cards to show you, all based on the same sketch. But as you'll see, I've taken quite a bit of liberty from where the sketch started to where the fourth card ends. So let's get to it. All right, let me show you what we're working with today. I already alluded to the fact that we are going to use a sketch, and this is it. So this is the Valentine sketch that I'm going to use. It's a card front. We've got a circle, a greeting coming out of it, and some sort of layer right here. Very basic. This is where we're going to start. I love having a sketch to just tell me where the layers are going to show up, at least for getting started. So that's what we're going to do first. So this card is going to be a Valentine's card, like the sketch was titled. We are going to use the Country Bouquet stamp set. We are also going to use the Country Bouquet Builder Punch, which is right here, and that coordinates with this one. And then we are going to use basic white cardstock along with Sweet Sorbet and Petal Pink. And I'm going to use the new pastel adhesive back sequins that have Petal Pink as one of the three colors that are being offered. Now, I've already taken the liberty of die cutting the circle, and I die cut and stamped the greeting just for time. These dies are both from, I always think of the word shapeless when I go to tell you guys about this. It's the Stylish Shapes die set. But anyway, this is the largest circle, and this is the the larger of the narrow banners. So there we go. All right. So what I have here is I've already cut the card base, which is an 11 by 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½ piece of Petal Pink cardstock. And then we have a 4 by 5¼ piece of basic white to go inside the card with the greeting. This is a little bit smaller. It's my scrap. I'm going to use that to stamp some of the elements that we're going to use. This is our strip of designer series paper. I already veered away from the sketch just a little bit, because if you'll look at the sketch, it's a very thin layer right here and a much smaller circle in terms of how much space that circle is going to take up. But like I said, what I love about a sketch is it's just a great launching point. So we're going to layer it like this. But then I decided to even veer farther from the sketch, and we're going to add another layer in here. And then we're going to get our greeting on, and then we need some hearts here to kind of finish it off. So we're going to veer away from that sketch, but we are going to use it as a basis for the card. All right, before we dive into making that one card all on our own, could you do me a quick favor and just give this video a like? And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, definitely subscribe and click that notification bell so you know when I post a new video. Thanks a lot, and let's get back to it. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is get my additional stamping done. So that is out of the way. I just want to make sure I get my smaller layer. I actually am going to need my big layer too. I'm going to set these over here so they don't get anything inky on them. I have my stamps set up. So for the larger layer on the inside, because that banner says just wanted to say, I am going to stamp Happy Valentine's Day inside. I'm just going to move my sequins over as well. And then we're going to stamp Happy Valentine's Day towards the top, straight down, hold for a mental count of 5, and then we'll lift up. There we go. All right, so that's done. Now I am just going to set this over in my stack of card pieces, and then we're going to stamp this. I'm going to need my Petal Pink ink as well this time. I'm going to bring in the 2 stamps that go with the the Country Bouquet Builder Punch. We're going to stamp this. This is the background. We're going to stamp that in Petal Pink and then do the outline in the Sweet Sorbet. So the first thing I'm going to do is ink these up. I want to go pretty low on this so it'll be easy to slide the punch on. I'm just holding it. I'm kind of wiggling it, but I'm not really moving the stamp off the paper. I do that little wiggle thing just to make sure all the little corners touched down really well. I'm at a little odd angle because of the camera, so hopefully this works. If not, we'll do it again. When you have a straight up and down look, it's really easy to, oh, hey, I'm going to take that. That is not bad. All right, so now we are going to punch these. I was starting to say, when you are looking straight up and down at the paper, mine is at a little bit of an angle this way. This is super easy to line up. I really am super excited about these stamps. They're going to be really easy if you are somebody that likes to send a lot of, heartfelt sentiments, whether it's Valentine's Day or, I mean, you could use this for get well, thinking of you, just like anything with hearts, anniversaries, weddings. I'm just trying to line these up. Come on, not cooperating. All right. I don't need the leaves this time, so I'm going to put my hand under, oh, it jumped. I'm going to put my hand underneath once I line it up again. And I have a little divot there. All right. We're going to make this work. Because as per usual, just in case I mess up, I do have an extra set. So we'll probably use the smaller one from my pre-stamped set. All right, but I'm going to show you. So as I was going to say, there's 4 pieces to this. So it kind of goes flying. So I put my hand underneath and then give it a good squeeze. And at least it all doesn't, poof all over the place. And there we go. Not as happy. I probably slid it a little bit again. But I did much better earlier today. So we are going to bring in the 2 pre-stamped guys because they came out way better. I promise this was a first try. I just am not super thrilled with these 2. So we'll set those aside. All right. So now we're ready to layer up our card. And then we'll add the bling. All right. So I'm going to put these hearts here. Now we are going to use both sizes of dimensionals. We're going to start, actually, I'm going to start with the inside of the card just to make it easier. I don't know why I think that makes it easier, but it does. All right. So usually you can trim this with your trimmer if you want to, but if you end up where when you scored and folded your card, one side is shorter than the other, I always like to make the longer side the front of my card. That way when somebody receives it, they think it all looks beautiful and it's all lined up. And not until they look at it from the back do they realize that there's a 1/16 of an inch difference, which is really not that big of a deal. All right, so we are going to take our glue. This is the liquid adhesive that you can find in the annual catalog. I just put it in a smaller dispenser because I have more control over how much is coming out and where it's going. And I do have those on my Amazon page, and I will link that below in the description. All right, so now the inside of our card is done. Now the next layer is this one, but before we do that, we're actually going to attach the paper so that we can trim it. Because what I like to do is, this is 1.5 inches. I like to cut the paper longer. It doesn't have to be quite that much longer, but that's the way it worked out. This is a whole 6 inches. I knew this was going to be 5 1/4, so I could have gotten away with anything between the 6 and probably like 5 1/2. But I want enough so that I can glue it down and trim it off so the edges are perfect. Because you are working with paper, and not, as you saw in the way that the card was folded, not everything always works out exactly perfect. So I'm going to go down towards the end. I'm probably putting on a little bit of glue farther down than I need to, but I want to make sure this is going to stick really well. And then I'll let you in on a little secret after we get this down, depending on how it looks. Now I'm keeping my right hand, my right hand is holding the paper up just a little bit so it's not laying all the way down. And then I have it kind of over the edge of my mat so that if there's any excess glue, which I'm pretty sure there is, it's not going to get on anything. And then what we're going to do is turn this over. Yeah, see, there's some excess glue there. So here's my little trick. If you've been around for any length of time, you know that these are my, I would I generally call them my icky scissors. These are the ones that I use to cut when things are messy and stuck together. I'll use it to cut any kind of adhesive, anything that's already gotten sticky or gummy. That's what I use these for. So I don't mind that they get a little gummed up, and I can set them aside and let them dry, and they're just fine. I'm going to throw this little piece of cardstock away, or paper away, because I don't want it to get on anything else. All right, so now we have this one done. So now this can go down on the card, because I'm not going to put any dimension behind this. I am going to use my dimensionals, but I'm going to use those on the circle, the hearts, and the greetings. So not all three actually at the same time, because that would make for a very, very tall card. All right, so we're going to put this down. So now we have one of the elements from the sketch, but we're going to keep building on that and make more. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our circle down. Now we'll bring our sketch back in just to remind you that we are going to follow. So it's a little bit over this. This is like my paper layer. It's a little bit over here and a lot over here. So we're going to put it down just like this. So a little bit and a lot. That works. I'm going to use liquid adhesive to put that down. And then I'm going to put my greeting here. And that's working out beautifully. A little, it's probably not as balanced as quite the same way as the sketch, but that's okay. If you look at the sketch, it's a little bit smaller and there's not as much on the circle as I have, but nonetheless, we're following along. And then we're going to take these cute red and petal pink hearts, and we're just going to put them right here, because I'm going to add a little bit of bling, and that's going to fill it in even more. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use dimensionals on this. I'm going to glue this part down, and then we'll glue the circle, and we'll put a dimensional underneath there so everything lays the way I want it to. Okay, so first what we're going to do is get our hearts. So let's do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is use the full-size dimensionals and put them on this big heart, because that's going to go down very first. Just to give me kind of a reference point though, I am going to put this back where I'm planning on laying it so that I can put this here and know that it's going to work. So we're going to put that right there. Okay, now we're going to do this one, but this time, because this is already popped up on the left side of the heart, I don't need any dimensional. I only need one on the right. And because that's a really small space, I'm actually going to get my smaller dimensionals. Don't you love these little envelopes I'm keeping this in? Leave a comment below if you want to know how I've been using these. I'm going to show you more about them in a minute when we get to adding the bling. All right, so again, I don't want to put a dimensional here. I want to put it under this side so that it balances on the card and I don't end up with like this huge puffy card, because I don't want that. So I'm going to put this right here. There we go. Very cute, if I do say so myself. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to just put some glue to like the wanted. So I'm going to hold it like this. I'm going to switch because I'm right-handed. And it's not an exact science, so I don't have to go right to the exact spot. I'm going to back off a little bit, and there'll be plenty of glue. I'm just going to put a little bit like that. There we go. And then I'm going to go back. Oh, crud. We'll leave that for a second. Actually, I need to put this down first. We'll put this down. Okay, there we go. And now, after I get this down where I had it before, so a little bit over here, a lot on the other side. There we go. And remember, this is paper, so it's really not adding any bulk to the card at all. So now I can hold this again, knowing I have my glue about up to that part, and I can set this down. I'm going to go just a little bit in. So I'll tell you why I went just a little bit in, because I don't really want my banner and this perfectly lined up. I just want them off a little bit. And then I need this to go down, but I don't want it to like, I guess it's okay with the cardstock. I would feel better though if it had just one of these little mini guys underneath. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take one of these. And this time, before I even stick it down, I'm going to take the release paper off So and leave it where I want it. And then I'm going to actually just put this right on the back. And there we go. Oh, I like that a lot. And see, you can see even the camera is giving it just a little bit of a shadow. I like the fact that it pops up just a little bit. So I'm super happy with that. Now, what I need is to add some bling. All right, so we're going to use the pastel adhesive sequins. And I'm going to get my garbage out of the way. And then the way I'm gonna use these is with my take your pick tool. So I just wanted to show you, I have these cool little envelopes and I have my embellishment in here, and I also have an embellishment log. So that's how I knew it was petal pink, and that's what I was looking to match. So if you would like to see how I put all that together, leave a comment below and I will be sure to take care of that. All right, so the way this came is that there is a large set and a smaller set. This is balmy blue, by the way, and then just plain old gold. So I think for this card, we're going to use just the petal pinks. It's kind of, it's not a big, huge card. I think I'll put, yeah, I'm going to just put one little guy right over here. I'm going to make a triangle like I usually do. It's really easy on your eyes, and your mind will consider it a balanced card if you go for an odd number of embellishments. Don't know if you knew that, but I have learned that along the way. So we're just going to go for those three. It fills it in plenty, not too much, but it does give it just a little bit of sparkle. Let me show you. Look at that, just a little bit of sparkle. So there we go. All right, so that is our pretty much follow the sketch, don't add a lot to it card. And now what I'm going to show you after I clean up this is 3 other versions, because remember in the intro I told you I had 4 cards to show you. So I am going to show you 3 more. Don't click away. I promise I am not going to build them from scratch. We're just going to talk through them. All right, so here we go. And I even have one for a guy. So if you are someone that struggles with making masculine cards, you're going to want to see these. Okay, so the next one that I have is a big variation on the sketch, if I do say so myself. So I have my stripe again, and this time I don't have an extra layer. So just like the sketch, I have my skinny layer right on top of the card front itself. However, I took the liberty of changing this from a circle to a square, and then I really blinged it up with a lot of shaker stuff. You can see this here. And spoiler alert, I just used a clear envelope to make this shaker card. So if you are interested in how I put all this together, leave a comment below and let me know that you would like a whole video on shaker cards. And then I did the same, obviously the same grading, same die, but because of real estate, I just moved it down here. I just figured if it was up here, it was just going to get hurt. And you would definitely have to mail this, because I really loaded up the shaker. You will probably have to mail this in like a bubble mailer or something larger than just your regular envelope, at least a 5x7, so that it's got wiggle room to get in there. But anyway, I just thought this was really cool, and I love making shaker cards now that I've learned how easy it is to make with a clear envelope. All right, and then the next card is a more traditional, I'm just calling it that way, a more traditional colored with, this is Blushing Bride and Sweet Sorbet. I just think that's the lighter pink and the red are just a little more traditional. I just stamped the greeting with Sweet Sorbet, so it's just kind of watermarked on there. For the hearts, they are punched with the Country Bouquet Builder, but I didn't stamp them at all. So it's really just a nice, subtle pink and Sweet Sorbet Blushing Bride card. You could definitely add some bling to it. I just left it pretty plain. And again, just like all the other cards, it says Happy Valentine's Day on the inside. And then last but not least is my spin on a guy card. So I am just a brown and blue kind of girl when it comes to making guy cards. This is just one of the designer series patterns. So I use that same circle that we've been using. I kind of moved the designer series paper in a little bit, and I didn't put the circle over the end so that you really see the contrast of the papers. And then I added the an I love you, just with a pop of red. So it's almost like the red is the bling on this card, if you will. Because for a guy card, you can't do, I don't think, generally speaking, you're not going to add like, you know, shaker sparkly stuff. You're not going to add shiny sequins and that kind of stuff. So the red, using a red ink in and of itself is giving it kind of the bling and the pop. And then just like all the other cards, it says Happy Valentine's Day on the inside. So there you have it. Those are the projects for today. If you've made it this far, I so appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, take a moment to click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you know when I post new videos. Have a great day.